So what's the last part of this chapter? Control procurement. Okay, actually think control procurement is like, we are what? The buyer, isn't it? It is like closing. Closing in the sense what? The subcontractor has finished his job. Okay, think it is like closing. Okay, that's why I said the word think closing. Okay, so one of the outputs would be he has finished his job. What we will do? In a real project we do the closure, isn't it? Here what we do? We do closing, closed procurement. Does make sense, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it? Isn't it? What we compare it with? We compare it with the agreements.
Yes.
Isn't it? Agreements. We compare it with the project charter. Not say project charter, but a procurement statement of work. Isn't it?
Yes.
Procurement. That is actually what procurement document. We will compare it with any approved changes. Isn't it?
Yes.
And then sure, we have our work performance data. Any comments? Output would be the closed procurements. Work performance data would be work performance information, isn't it? Plus change request. Isn't it? And then if any change or something, we will have to update this procurement documents. Is it clear? Okay, this is clear. No? So okay, if this is clear, I will just do 2-3 minutes brush up of this chapter. I want to show you one. Let's say draw one. What is this guy called? Block diagram. Exactly. You were asking that, isn't it? I made for this small kind of block diagram. Full chapter would be easy, isn't it? I will draw it now. If it's possible, try to draw it like if you have a blank screen, blank paper, preferably on a landscape. Okay. I think just do fast brush up. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. Now just maybe in 2 minutes we will come to that. Okay. Listen. So just want to tell you what. Okay, see, plan procurement, conduct procurement, selected seller, agreements, isn't it? And we learned what are the agreements we're going to do, how to do fixed contract, whatever. How do we select them? Select seller's proposal should be there because conduct procurement, isn't it? Because of this bid documents, isn't it? Procurement statement of work, what are there? They're called procurement documentations, isn't it? Isn't it? And what we do, we have sent it to them via advertisement, bidder conference. I think now this is easy, bidder conference, isn't it? Zoom meeting. Now, before it was a bit difficult to explain. But larger projects, bid, isn't it? Any clarification, anything. Sometimes you send him procurement statement of work. He doesn't understand. Clarification or whatever. And according to PMI, there is one word. Okay, you should not be favoring to anyone. Favoring in the sense, isn't it? If you give any update, let's say if you are giving any information out, you should give it to everyone, not only favor to one. Okay, then we selected the seller, sellers, we did the agreement, isn't it? Maybe a change request is required, isn't it? Right. Then we come to control. We compare it with the agreements, isn't it? Procurement documentation, any approved changes, work performance data, isn't it? Okay, we will come to, we'll do inspection, we'll do auditing, isn't it? I will come to this, what is the meaning of claim administration. Okay, then we will go for closed procurements, isn't it? We need to close the procurement. This part of the job is done by procurement. We need to close his project, isn't it? We can't keep it open, isn't it? And then change request and whatever, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, right. Okay, what is claims administration? If there is any claim or whatever may be, is a claim. There's some claim, a mismatch between the buyer and the seller. What document would come up? Again, the question. Let's suppose there is a clash or a claim. You know what's a claim? A claim means what? A complaint.
Yeah.
Between a buyer and a seller.
Change request. It could be a change
Claim in the sense, let's suppose I supplied you something and you are not happy with it. Claim, that's a complaint. Complaint, isn't it? A defect or something, complaint. Isn't it? What do we do? Which document will support each other? How can I move forward as a buyer or as a seller? Let's suppose we had a contract with each other and one of the parties played around.
Yeah. We can go back to our agreement.
Exactly.
Our agreement. We'll go back to our agreement, what we agreed on.
Isn't it? That's why you see, selected seller with agreement. This comes here
Agreement.
as the input. Isn't it? Not the only this one. Because selected seller khalas. Now of course agreement is going forward from that, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yeah, very clear.
Okay. Now what I will just do is show you let me draw it and the whole. Is this clear? This chapter is easy chapter.
Yes.
Okay. You need to remember those. What is this guy called? This contract types. Very, very important.
Yes.
Okay. Like, listen, just procurement process. Just try to make it as simple as possible. The whole chapter actually. Okay. Listen. First thing is we are buyer. Okay. Buyer, what he would do? He would do the statement of work.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Procurement statement of work. Procurement statement of work. Okay. Then he would do something called as invitation to bid. Isn't it? He would send a request for quote. Isn't it? Let's say RFQ. Isn't it? Request for proposal. Whatever. Any comments?
No.
This is who all the buyer. First he would do this. This would go to sellers, all the sellers. Isn't it? I don't know today why my handwriting is going upside down, but maybe. Isn't it? Any comments?
Yes.
This seller, we would do something called as bidder conference, advertisement, whatever, any meeting or whatever. So he understands everything very clearly what the RFQ or the statement of work. Isn't it? He didn't understand everything, so we have to do something called as a statement of work update. Isn't it? Because he didn't understand before, so I made it updated one. Any comment?
Yes.
Okay. This statement of work is given to the seller. Updated one. Isn't it? This seller, what he will do? Based on this, we call something called as a seller response. Isn't it? Isn't it? He would give his quote. He would give his proposal. Isn't it? In other words, he would give his bid. Any comments?
Yes, sir.
After this, what will happen? Buyer will start playing his game. Isn't it? Buyer, what you do? Generally, or negotiation.
Sure.
Negotiation can be in the form of maybe payment terms, isn't it? After he negotiated everything, he did his comparison, isn't it? Let's say the different vendors, isn't it? He would do something called as source selection, isn't it? Actually, it's round about the same story. Source selection, isn't it? He does the agreement, isn't it? Agreement / contract, isn't it? And then this contract, isn't it? Let's say the seller does the job, isn't it? He compares it with his job, work performance data. Everything is done, isn't it? We have work performance information. Everything is over. We does close procurement. We have to close his procurement, isn't it? We cannot just open his project. His project is open, not closed. Isn't it? Both agree, isn't it? Is it clear, or doesn't make sense?
No. Very clear.
Okay. Anyway, This is the beautiful.
request there
Sorry.
at the end?
Yeah. Then sure. Change request comes, isn't it? This should have been work performance data. Any agreed or maybe any approved changes. Sure. Actually, you can make like this story,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think this is clear. Isn't this just a small story how the whole chapter moves around? Listen, actually, I was planning first to do this one. Then I thought, let me explain full. Then this becomes very easy,
Very easy.
isn't it? Fine. Anyway, I think we are we done for today, or are we? I hope today's class you enjoyed.
Yes. Very much. It's a very good subject.
So procurement is very, especially person. I tell you, procurement is very interesting for person who is doing this job. Okay, I've been teaching PMP for even some doctors. Okay, for them they hate this chapter because they don't procure anything. Right? I have some doctors who are done PMP. Okay, and she really hates this chapter. Procurement, one of the worst subjects.